Music legend Sir Cliff Richard is coming back to Australian shores.
Before the world knew Cliff Richard, before the charts, the stadiums, and the adoring fans, there was a boy named Harry Roger Webb, displaced, quiet, and hungry for a spark of freedom in a world that had already taken so much. From the upheaval of colonial India to the grey austerity of post-war England, his early life was a lesson in resilience, shaping a man who would one day redefine British music, faith, and integrity. Before the legend, there was Harry Roger Webb, born in 1940 in Lucknow, British India, into a world brimming with complexity and contradiction. His earliest memories were shaped not by comfort, but by upheaval, uncertainty, and the subtle tensions of a family navigating the end of an era. The British Empire was waning, and the world around him was shifting in ways that even a child could sense. He was surrounded by structure and routine, yet the quiet anxieties of adults were impossible to ignore. At home, formal dinners masked the underlying worry of financial insecurity. Smiles often concealed exhaustion, and the laughter of older siblings sometimes rang hollow against the shadows of parental despair. Harry discovered American rock and roll at a time when his life felt confined by circumstance. The electrifying sounds of Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, and Little Richard were unlike anything he had ever heard. Their music was not merely entertainment, it was liberation. It pulsed with energy, rebellion, and an unapologetic joy that seemed to open doors in his mind that had long been shuttered by displacement, hardship, and quiet yearning. He began experimenting in secrecy. Borrowing his uncle's guitar, he spent hours in small rooms, hunched over strings, practicing chord after chord, sometimes until his fingers ached. He would sneak into youth clubs and church halls to perform with friends, any place that would let him sing, however small the audience. In those moments, he felt an intoxicating freedom. For the first time, he was not Harry Webb, the boy marked by hardship. He was someone larger, someone capable of moving hearts. By age 17, after years of secret rehearsals, local performances, and the quiet shaping of his musical identity, Harry made a life-altering choice. He would no longer remain hidden behind his given name. He became Cliff Richard. Cliff symbolized strength and endurance, a steady edge no storm could erode. Richard paid homage to the explosive energy and raw charisma of Little Richard, whose influence had ignited this new path. In 1958, Cliff and his band, then called the Drifters, recorded a song that would change the course of British music forever. Move It. Unlike the polished, manufactured tracks dominating the airwaves, Move It was raw, jagged, and defiantly alive, a sound that throbbed with the restless energy of youth. It wasn't just a debut single, it was a declaration. In 1966, at the very height of his fame, Cliff Richard experienced a profound spiritual awakening that would redefine his life and career. Inspired by the teachings of the renowned American evangelist Billy Graham, he publicly embraced Christianity, a decision that shocked fans, critics, and the music industry alike. At a time when pop culture demanded glamour, rebellion, and scandal, Cliff chose a path that few could understand or predict. The 1970s brought an unexpected silence for Cliff Richard, a period that tested even the most steadfast of spirits. By 1975, the man who had once dominated British charts for nearly 2 decades found himself facing the harsh reality of fading popularity. Hits were scarce, radio play diminished, and the public's attention had shifted to newer, flashier acts. For someone who had built a career on consistent success, this period of quiet was both professionally and personally challenging. Cliff questioned his relevance, his confidence wavering under the weight of uncertainty, and yet, beneath the surface, the same resilience that had carried him from a displaced childhood remained unbroken. Cliff Richard's life was marked by near romances, fleeting connections, and love that often remained just out of reach. For For a man whose career demanded constant attention, devotion, and discipline, personal happiness frequently had to be set aside. Among the relationships that lingered in memory, his friendship with Olivia Newton-John stands out as particularly poignant. Their bond, stretching over 5 decades, was built not on scandal or dramatic declarations, but on shared harmonies, mutual admiration, and a quiet, unspoken understanding. While the world may have speculated about romance, the truth was more subtle and infinitely more touching. A deep, enduring affection that never needed public validation, a love expressed through music rather than words. This recurring theme shaped not only his personal life, but also his philosophy toward relationships. He chose dignity over disclosure, never feeding the public's curiosity or surrendering his private world to speculation. In his life, love often existed in quiet observation, in gestures never announced, in emotions felt fully but rarely claimed. The longing for companionship, the ache of what might have been, became a silent undertone to a life lived in service of art, discipline, and faith. In 2014, Cliff Richard faced one of the most harrowing chapters of his life, when police executed a search of his Berkshire home over an anonymous allegation. The intrusion was amplified when the BBC broadcasted the search live, turning a private investigation into a national spectacle. For a man who had spent decades building a career on dignity, faith, and artistic integrity, the experience was deeply invasive. The cameras hovered, helicopters circled, and millions watched as the private sanctuary of his home became a stage for public judgment. Despite the stress and humiliation, Cliff endured 22 agonizing months of scrutiny while no charges were ever filed. The ordeal took a tangible toll on his health, triggering sleepless nights, stress-related ailments, and a painful outbreak of shingles. Friends and fans witnessed the slow erosion of his well-being. As a man once celebrated for joy and resilience, grappled with fear, uncertainty, and betrayal. Now in his mid-80s, Sir Cliff Richard enjoys a life defined by serene reflection, a balance between the legacies of a long career and the quiet joys of daily living. He divides his time between his sun-drenched villa in Barbados and his sprawling countryside estate in Portugal. Coral Sundown, his 6-bedroom residence in the exclusive Sugar Hill community of Barbados, offers privacy, comfort, and understated luxury. A place where he can relax away from the spotlight, practice tennis, or take long walks along the lush grounds. In Portugal, his Quinta Dominos estate spans 30 acres of vineyards and history, providing space for meditation, gardening, and uninterrupted moments of personal contemplation. Despite the grandeur of these properties, Cliff's approach to life is grounded rather than ostentatious. Financially, he is secure, with an estimated net worth between $90 and $100 million, the fruit of more than 6 decades in music and over 260 million records sold worldwide. Yet wealth has never defined him. Sir Cliff Richard lives a life of restraint, balance, and purpose. His choice of cars, a Bentley Mulsanne, Mercedes GLS 63, and Mazda CX-8, reflects comfort and refinement rather than extravagance. His days begin with stretches on the veranda, followed by vineyard walks, tennis, and a Mediterranean diet. He avoids alcohol, prefers herbal tea, and lives with calm, steady rhythm instead of excess. Yet beyond music and fame, Cliff's life is deeply rooted in philanthropy. Since the 1960s, he has quietly given away 10% of his income, seeing charity not as an act, but a duty. Through the Sir Cliff Richard Charitable Trust, he supports over 50 UK charities every quarter, aiding children, the elderly, medical research, and global causes. His philanthropy is sincere, never performative, an extension of his values shaped by early hardship. His legacy is far greater than music. From a displaced child named Harry Webb to Britain's first true rock and roll star, Cliff has endured fame, personal heartbreak, and public trials with dignity. He turned pain into empathy, silence into strength, and faith into purpose. Cliff Richard's story is not just about songs or stardom. It is about resilience, compassion, and quiet courage. His greatness lies not only in the records he broke, but in the lives he uplifted and the grace with which he lived.